In a world that tells you to chase happiness, what if I told you that this very pursuit could be the reason you feel unfulfilled? What if the secret to a truly meaningful life lies not in avoiding pain or seeking endless pleasure, but in embracing struggle, growth, and self-overcoming? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most provocative ideas ever presented by the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, the concept of the Ubermensch. The ideal human who rises above weakness and embraces life's challenges. In this video, we're going to explore Nietzsche's radical critique of happiness, how he believed modern society's focus on comfort is making us weaker, and how you can transform your life by facing struggles head-on. If you've ever felt like the pursuit of happiness just leaves you feeling emptier, or if you're tired of living by society's rules and want to break free, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-expanding content like this. And if you're really enjoying the video, consider hitting that super thanks button to show your support. Your contributions help me continue to create videos that challenge the status quo and push the boundaries of thought. Now, let's get into Nietzsche's fascinating ideas and discover how embracing struggle instead of happiness can transform your life. In today's society, the pursuit of happiness is often seen as the ultimate goal, an aspiration that is heavily promoted in every facet of life, from advertising and social media to books, blogs, and countless self-help gurus. The message is clear: buy the right things, achieve certain career milestones, maintain an ideal image, and happiness will follow. Whether it's through achieving professional success, acquiring material possessions, or experiencing new adventures, the idea is perpetuated that happiness is something that can be obtained by following specific steps. But, as Friedrich Nietzsche argued, this pursuit of happiness is a modern illusion, one that often leads to a deep sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Modern society tends to reduce happiness to an external product or a series of checkboxes that can be ticked off as we go through life. The more we accumulate, whether it's wealth, recognition, or possessions, the more we're told happiness will arrive. We are conditioned to believe that once we reach a certain milestone, happiness will simply be there, waiting for us. But this perspective ignores a fundamental truth that Nietzsche, as well as modern psychology, brings to light. Happiness is fleeting, and the pursuit of it often leads to more frustration than fulfillment. Take, for example, the experience of getting a promotion at work. For many, this represents a significant achievement and a reason for celebration. Initially, there is a rush of excitement, a sense of validation and success. However, after a few weeks or months, that excitement often fades. The sense of accomplishment that once felt so fulfilling becomes just another part of the daily grind, and the person begins to yearn for the next promotion or a new goal to chase. The happiness derived from the promotion does not last, it is momentary, and it quickly returns to baseline, as if nothing extraordinary has occurred. This is the cycle that so many people find themselves trapped in, constantly chasing the next big thing, hoping that the next achievement will bring lasting happiness, only to find that it, too, fades. This phenomenon isn't just a personal observation, it's a well-documented psychological pattern. Studies have shown that the more people chase happiness through external achievements, the more they actually end up feeling dissatisfied. This pattern has been referred to as the hedonic treadmill, a concept that describes how people tend to adapt to positive changes in their lives, such as getting a new job, purchasing a new car, or moving into a new home. Initially, these changes bring a burst of happiness, but over time, people return to their baseline level of happiness, regardless of how much they've gained. In essence, the more we chase happiness, the less likely we are to hold on to it. Nietzsche saw this cycle long before it was recognized by psychologists. He argued that the pursuit of happiness was an empty goal, one that would always disappoint, because happiness is not a permanent state, nor should it be the primary aim of human existence. According to Nietzsche, human beings are not designed to seek happiness but to engage in struggle, challenge, and self-overcoming. This idea may seem counterintuitive in a world that places such high value on personal satisfaction and pleasure, but it's a perspective that, when explored, provides a deeper understanding of what it means to live a fulfilling life. At its core, Nietzsche's philosophy suggests that humans find meaning not in avoiding pain and discomfort, but in the struggle and growth that emerge from these experiences. He believed that the quest for happiness often distracts people from confronting the challenges that would lead to true self-realization and personal development. By focusing on the transient nature of happiness, individuals are more likely to avoid the very struggles that would lead them to a more profound sense of fulfillment. The current state of modern society only exacerbates this issue. We live in an age of constant distraction, instant gratification, and external validation. Social media, for example, is built on the premise that happiness can be achieved through likes, followers, and external approval. The curated lives we see online often portray an idealized version of success and happiness that seems just out of reach, furthering the belief that happiness is something to be achieved through external means. However, as Nietzsche pointed out, this external pursuit of happiness is not only unsustainable but also deceptive. In reality, chasing happiness through external achievements or possessions can never lead to lasting fulfillment. The excitement of a new acquisition or a major career achievement is often short-lived because it doesn't address the deeper human need for growth and self-mastery. Instead, it temporarily satisfies a desire for pleasure and comfort. But once the novelty wears off, people are left feeling empty and in search of the next happiness fix. Nietzsche believed that this endless pursuit of happiness not only leads to frustration but also prevents people from embracing the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life, namely, the challenges and obstacles that push them to grow and evolve. Consider a person who buys a new car. At first, there's an undeniable sense of joy and excitement. It's shiny, new, and represents a milestone in their life. But as time passes, the car becomes just another object, something to be taken for granted. The initial thrill fades, and the person begins thinking about the next big purchase or upgrade they want to make. The car, which once promised happiness, no longer provides the same emotional boost. This cycle repeats itself with every new thing: a house, a phone, a vacation, a promotion, and each time the happiness is fleeting, and the cycle of dissatisfaction continues. This is not to say that external achievements or material possessions are inherently bad. Rather, Nietzsche's point is that when we place our sole focus on these things as the path to happiness, we miss out on something far more valuable: the opportunity for personal growth through struggle. Nietzsche did not advocate for a life of suffering or hardship for its own sake, but rather for a life where we engage with challenges, confront adversity, and push beyond our limitations. This struggle, he believed, is what brings real meaning and satisfaction to our lives, not the pursuit of fleeting happiness. In essence, Nietzsche's view on happiness challenges us to rethink our understanding of fulfillment. Instead of chasing an idealized version of happiness, we should focus on embracing the struggles and challenges that come our way. These are the experiences that provide true growth, self-overcoming, and a sense of achievement that lasts far longer than the temporary satisfaction derived from external accomplishments. In this way, the pursuit of happiness, as it is commonly understood in modern society, is revealed as a shallow, unfulfilling quest that only leads to more longing and dissatisfaction. The path Nietzsche advocates is not an easy one. It requires us to accept discomfort, face adversity head-on, and embrace the struggles of life with open arms. It's not about seeking happiness for the sake of pleasure, it's about seeking meaning, self-mastery, and growth. By engaging with life's challenges, we allow ourselves the opportunity to evolve into something greater, stronger, and more resilient. This, Nietzsche argues, is the true source of fulfillment, not the fleeting emotion of happiness, but the deeper sense of satisfaction that comes from overcoming obstacles and striving toward personal excellence. In conclusion, the pursuit of happiness, as it is commonly understood, is ultimately a misguided endeavor. Nietzsche's critique of happiness as the ultimate goal invites us to reconsider what it means to live a fulfilling life. Instead of chasing after happiness, we should focus on embracing struggle, growth, and self-overcoming. Only by doing so can we move beyond the cycle of fleeting pleasure and find deeper, lasting fulfillment. The idea of the hedonic treadmill is one that resonates deeply with modern life, especially as we continue to chase external markers of happiness. Whether it's acquiring material possessions, reaching professional goals, or attaining status, we are often led to believe that these things will provide lasting happiness. However, as the concept of the hedonic treadmill suggests, no matter how much we achieve, Our happiness always returns to a baseline level, leaving us yearning for the next thing. This phenomenon explains why constant achievement often doesn't lead to the lasting fulfillment we expect. Instead, it becomes a cycle of temporary pleasure and dissatisfaction, which is ultimately unfulfilling. Nietzsche, ahead of his time, saw this pattern long before it became recognized by modern psychology, and he warned that the pursuit of happiness is a distraction that prevents us from facing the deeper struggles of life that actually lead to personal growth. The hedonic treadmill can be understood as a psychological process where individuals, after achieving a goal or acquiring something they believe will bring lasting happiness, quickly return to their normal state of happiness. This means that the joy experienced from reaching a goal, be it a new car, a promotion at work, or a vacation, quickly fades, and people begin to feel the same as they did before the achievement. The cycle then begins anew, with the individual striving for the next thing that they believe will bring them happiness, only to find that this new pursuit also provides only temporary satisfaction. It is as if people are running on a treadmill, constantly working hard to achieve more, but never really getting anywhere in terms of long-lasting contentment. Take, for instance, the simple example of purchasing a new car. For many people, getting a new car is a significant milestone, and the initial joy is undeniable. There's something exciting about driving a new vehicle: its newness, its pristine condition, the feeling of owning something valuable and impressive. At first, it feels like a major achievement, something that will improve their life in a meaningful way. The person enjoys the car for a few months, taking pride in it, showing it off to friends, and reveling in the small luxuries that come with it. But then, after the novelty wears off, the car starts to feel like just another object. The initial thrill fades, and the person starts to notice that the car no longer provides the same sense of joy it once did. Over time, the car becomes just another mode of transportation. It loses its luster, and the person begins to yearn for something newer, bigger, or more exciting. They're back to the same place they were before, wishing for the next thing to fill the void. But in reality, the cycle has simply repeated itself. This is the very essence of the hedonic treadmill. This concept isn't limited to material possessions. It can apply to almost every area of life where external goals or achievements are the focus. Many individuals chase after promotions, hoping that higher status and increased income will bring them a sense of satisfaction. They may work tirelessly for years, putting in extra hours, pushing themselves to the limit in pursuit of success. When they finally achieve the promotion, there is a sense of accomplishment, but it doesn't last long. The work becomes routine, the excitement fades, and the individual starts looking for the next promotion or achievement. The initial joy was temporary, and soon, the same sense of dissatisfaction returns. The idea behind this phenomenon is rooted in the psychology of adaptation. Humans have an incredible ability to adapt to new circumstances, which, while useful in many situations, also means that the joy derived from external accomplishments or possessions doesn't last. Initially, a new achievement or possession might provide a boost of happiness, but over time, the individual's emotional state returns to its baseline level. This is the reason why people often feel the need to constantly chase after new things to recapture that initial sense of excitement and fulfillment. However, no matter how much they achieve, that sense of happiness will always fade, leaving them in a continuous cycle of wanting more. Nietzsche recognized this pattern long before modern psychology began to explore it. He argued that the pursuit of happiness through external achievements or possessions is a distraction, one that prevents people from engaging with the deeper, more meaningful struggles of life. He believed that this endless pursuit of happiness kept people from confronting the challenges that are essential for growth and self-realization. In Nietzsche's view, the true fulfillment in life does not come from the accumulation of things or the achievement of external goals, but from the internal process of self-overcoming, the act of confronting and overcoming personal challenges, limitations, and difficulties. This insight is where Nietzsche's perspective diverges from the prevailing mindset in modern society. While society encourages people to seek external achievements as a way to find happiness, Nietzsche believed that this was ultimately futile. The cycle of the hedonic treadmill is evidence that external pursuits can never lead to lasting satisfaction because they do not address the deeper needs of the human soul. People often find themselves perpetually striving for something external, Yet the internal dissatisfaction remains. It is only when individuals engage with the challenges of life, not as obstacles to avoid but as opportunities for personal growth, that they can begin to experience a more profound sense of fulfillment. The hedonic treadmill also reveals a deeper truth about the nature of happiness itself. Happiness, as it is typically conceived in modern society, is an elusive and temporary state. It is based on external circumstances: what we achieve, what we acquire, and what we experience. This kind of happiness is fleeting because it is dependent on factors that are always changing and often beyond our control. The more we focus on external sources of happiness, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment, because the satisfaction derived from external achievements is never permanent. By contrast, Nietzsche's philosophy suggests that happiness should not be the goal at all. Instead of focusing on achieving external success or acquiring material wealth, Nietzsche advocated for embracing the struggles of life and using them as a means to achieve self-mastery. For Nietzsche, the key to fulfillment lay not in accumulating more things or achieving more goals but in facing the inherent challenges of life and using those challenges to grow and transform. The cycle of the hedonic treadmill, where happiness always returns to baseline, occurs because people are chasing the wrong thing. They are chasing an illusion that will never be fully realized. True fulfillment, according to Nietzsche, comes from the act of struggle and self-overcoming. This idea can be seen in many areas of life where people are constantly striving for more but never truly satisfied. The pursuit of fame is another example. In the modern age of social media, the desire for fame and recognition has become a significant driver of happiness for many individuals. People post pictures and updates, hoping for likes and validation from others. They work hard to build a following, to create a persona that will make them popular. But even as their fame grows, so does their hunger for more. Once they achieve a certain level of popularity, it often doesn't feel like enough. They crave more followers, more likes, more recognition. The satisfaction they get from fame is temporary, and soon, they are back on the treadmill, seeking more attention, more success, and more validation. The cycle repeats itself, as the person realizes that the fame they once craved no longer brings the same joy it did when they were striving for it. The same can be said for the pursuit of wealth. People often believe that once they reach a certain level of financial security, they will be content. However, once they achieve that goal, the excitement fades, and they begin to seek out new financial goals, perhaps aiming for a higher income or more investments. The money they have earned no longer brings the same excitement it once did, and they return to the treadmill, trying to achieve more in the hope of recapturing that initial joy. The cycle of the hedonic treadmill is a powerful reminder that happiness derived from external sources is often fleeting and unsustainable. The more we chase after these external achievements, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. As Nietzsche pointed out, the pursuit of happiness is a distraction that prevents us from engaging with life's true challenges. True fulfillment comes not from achieving more but from embracing the struggles and obstacles that life presents. The goal should not be to acquire more or achieve more but to become more resilient, more self-aware, and more capable of overcoming the challenges that shape our lives. In conclusion, the concept of the hedonic treadmill is an essential insight into the nature of happiness and fulfillment. It reveals that no matter how much we achieve, our happiness will always return to a baseline level, leaving us on a never-ending quest for more. This cycle illustrates why the pursuit of happiness through external means is ultimately unfulfilling. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages us to abandon the idea that happiness is something to be acquired and instead focus on embracing the challenges of life as opportunities for growth and self-mastery. By doing so, we can find a deeper sense of fulfillment that goes beyond the fleeting satisfaction of the hedonic treadmill. Friedrich Nietzsche's view on human nature stands in stark contrast to the modern, comfort-driven understanding of happiness. Nietzsche believed that the human desire for growth, challenge, and the sense of overcoming obstacles far outweighs the pursuit of happiness itself. He rejected the idea that happiness is the ultimate goal of life and instead emphasized that fulfillment comes from engaging with life's challenges head-on. This radical perspective is now supported by much of modern psychology, which acknowledges that people who embrace struggle and self-improvement often report feeling more fulfilled than those who pursue only pleasure or comfort. At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy is the idea that struggle is not only inevitable but essential for personal growth. For Nietzsche, human beings are not designed to seek comfort and pleasure as their end goal. In fact, he saw the pursuit of comfort as a form of stagnation, one that leads to dissatisfaction and weakness. Rather than avoiding discomfort and challenges, Nietzsche believed that people should embrace them. By doing so, they would experience a deeper sense of purpose and self-realization. This isn't to say that Nietzsche advocated for a life of unnecessary suffering, but rather that growth and self-overcoming are the keys to a fulfilling life. Modern psychology backs up Nietzsche's claims in surprising ways. Studies have shown that people who engage in meaningful struggle, whether through career challenges, personal growth, or overcoming adversity, tend to feel more fulfilled than those who actively seek comfort or pleasure. In fact, research into positive psychology reveals that striving for happiness through hedonistic pursuits such as seeking pleasure or avoiding pain often leads to feelings of emptiness and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, people who face challenges and work towards long-term goals often experience greater life satisfaction because they feel a sense of progress and growth. A prime example of this is the life of an athlete. Athletes are known for pushing their bodies to their limits through intense training and competition. The process of training itself is grueling hours of exercise, discipline, and sacrifice, but the athlete's goal isn't happiness in the conventional sense. Rather, it's about pushing beyond their physical limitations, testing themselves, and ultimately achieving a sense of mastery. An athlete may find that the satisfaction of achieving a new personal best or winning a competition is far more fulfilling than any temporary pleasure they could have experienced. This sense of accomplishment and growth is what drives the athlete, not the fleeting enjoyment of the moment. The happiness they experience comes not from the absence of struggle, but from the victory over it, the growth that happens through overcoming obstacles. Nietzsche's rejection of happiness as the central pursuit of life challenges the modern worldview, where happiness is often equated with comfort, pleasure, and satisfaction. We live in a society that prioritizes instant gratification, comfort, and ease, leading many to believe that happiness can be achieved simply by acquiring more, achieving more, or avoiding discomfort. However, this approach often leads to emptiness, as people find themselves constantly chasing the next source of temporary pleasure. Nietzsche, on the other hand, argued that true fulfillment comes not from the avoidance of pain or the accumulation of pleasure, but from engaging deeply with life's challenges and using them as opportunities for growth. One of the central aspects of Nietzsche's philosophy is the idea of self-overcoming. For Nietzsche, the process of facing challenges, struggling through them, and ultimately overcoming them is what gives life meaning. People are not meant to live in a constant state of comfort or pleasure. Instead, they are meant to confront the difficulties of life, learn from them, and emerge stronger. This process of self-overcoming is the key to personal growth and fulfillment. Nietzsche saw this as the true path to happiness, not a happiness born from external circumstances, but a happiness that comes from the sense of mastery over oneself and one's circumstances. This idea of self-overcoming can be seen in a variety of contexts. Take, for example, the entrepreneur. Starting a business is often a difficult and uncertain journey. Entrepreneurs face numerous obstacles: financial difficulties, rejection, failure, and the constant pressure to succeed. Yet, many entrepreneurs report that the most fulfilling aspect of their work is not the end result, but the process of overcoming these challenges. The struggle itself, working long hours, dealing with setbacks, learning from failure, is what provides them with a sense of purpose and satisfaction. For these individuals, the ultimate joy is not in achieving comfort or pleasure, but in the personal growth that comes from persevering through hardship and adversity. The process of self-creation, building something meaningful, often from nothing, is what brings the entrepreneur a deep sense of fulfillment. Another example of this can be seen in the artist's journey. Like athletes and entrepreneurs, artists often endure years of struggle and failure before achieving success. The path to creating meaningful work is not easy. It requires years of practice, rejection, and constant questioning of one's abilities. For many artists, the process of creating art is filled with doubt, frustration, and hardship. Yet, it is through this struggle that they find meaning and purpose. The artist does not create because they expect to be happy in the traditional sense. They create because the struggle itself provides them with a sense of mastery and expression. The growth they experience as they develop their craft, confront their fears, and improve their skills is what makes the journey worthwhile. Nietzsche's emphasis on growth and struggle is also relevant in the context of personal relationships. Relationships, whether romantic or platonic, often require individuals to confront their own weaknesses, insecurities, and limitations. The process of working through conflicts, understanding each other's differences, and growing together is difficult, but it is also what makes relationships meaningful. The ability to overcome challenges in a relationship, whether through communication, compromise, or emotional growth, is what strengthens the bond between individuals. This growth, born out of struggle, is what allows relationships to thrive and evolve over time. The concept of growth through struggle can even be seen in the process of self-improvement. Many people set goals related to personal development, whether it's improving physical health, learning a new skill, or working on emotional intelligence. These goals often require significant effort and sacrifice. The person who commits to a fitness regimen, for example, may experience physical pain, frustration, and setbacks along the way. However, it is through this process of struggle that they become stronger, healthier, and more resilient. The satisfaction they feel when they overcome obstacles and achieve their goals is a direct result of their growth, not the avoidance of discomfort. This sense of personal mastery and self-improvement is what provides lasting fulfillment. Nietzsche's philosophy of struggle and growth is not just about facing external challenges. It is about confronting the internal obstacles that hold us back. Personal growth requires us to examine our own weaknesses, fears, and limitations. It requires the courage to confront the aspects of ourselves that we would rather avoid. Nietzsche believed that this inner struggle was just as important as the external challenges we face. By confronting our own weaknesses and overcoming them, we achieve true self-mastery and personal growth. In this sense, Nietzsche's idea of growth through struggle is not just about achieving external success, but about becoming the best version of ourselves, confronting our limitations, and striving to evolve into something greater. This process of self-actualization is what Nietzsche saw as the true path to fulfillment. It is through the struggle for self-overcoming that we find meaning and purpose, not through the pursuit of fleeting pleasure or external validation. Ultimately, Nietzsche's view on growth, challenge, and self-overcoming challenges the conventional wisdom that happiness can be achieved through the pursuit of pleasure and comfort. Happiness, for Nietzsche, is not a static state to be attained, but a dynamic process that emerges from engaging with life's difficulties and growing through them. Whether it's through the physical challenge of training as an athlete, the mental challenge of building a business, the creative struggle of making art, or the emotional challenge of developing meaningful relationships, the process of overcoming and growing is what leads to the deepest sense of fulfillment. This is the kind of fulfillment that lasts, not a fleeting joy based on external circumstances, but a lasting sense of satisfaction that comes from within, born from the process of struggle and growth. One of the most crucial and defining aspects of Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy is his concept of the will to power. This idea shifts our understanding of what motivates human beings. While many philosophers and psychologists throughout history have argued that humans are primarily motivated by the need for survival, pleasure, or happiness, Nietzsche posited that humans are fundamentally driven by a deeper, more profound urge, the will to power. This is not the kind of power that seeks domination over others or control over the world, but rather the power to master oneself, to overcome personal limitations, and to evolve into something stronger and more capable. In other words, the will to power is about self-overcoming, pushing beyond one's current state and striving to reach higher levels of personal development and mastery. At the heart of this idea is the belief that humans are not content with stagnation or mere survival. While survival may be the instinct that keeps us alive, Nietzsche argued that it is growth and self-overcoming that truly give life meaning. The human spirit, Nietzsche claimed, craves expansion, evolution, and transformation. People aren't just driven to exist, they're driven to grow and to break through their limitations. To Nietzsche, this drive is the essence of what it means to be human. The will to power is the fundamental force that pushes us to achieve, to improve, to change, and to become more than we currently are. Importantly, the will to power is not about the traditional forms of power we often think of, such as political control, wealth, or domination over others. Nietzsche was not advocating for tyrannical behavior or selfishness in terms of exploiting others for personal gain. Instead, the will to power, according to Nietzsche, is about mastering oneself. It is about having the strength to face life's challenges, to engage in the process of self-discipline, and to pursue personal growth in the face of adversity. The true form of power is the power over one's own impulses, weaknesses, and limitations. Nietzsche emphasized that this kind of self-mastery leads to a more authentic and fulfilling existence. This understanding of power is deeply connected to self-overcoming. Nietzsche saw human beings not as static creatures but as beings in a constant state of becoming, constantly striving to improve, evolve, and push their limits. He believed that people who are committed to this process of self-overcoming live more meaningful lives because they are engaged in the active pursuit of growth rather than simply seeking comfort or contentment. Comfort, Nietzsche argued, is a form of stagnation. It is in avoiding challenges and difficulties that people become weak, complacent, and unfulfilled. On the other hand, the drive to overcome those challenges, to face obstacles head-on, and to rise above them is what leads to true personal development and, ultimately, fulfillment. A great example of the will to power can be found in the world of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are often faced with tremendous risks, challenges, and uncertainties. The process of building a business involves long hours, setbacks, failures, and constant pressure. There is no guarantee of success, and for many, the journey is fraught with difficulty. However, the entrepreneur does not shy away from these challenges. In fact, they are motivated by them. The process of building something meaningful, of pushing through adversity, and of constantly striving to improve their business and themselves, is what drives them. Take the example of a startup founder. This person may have a vision and a passion for their idea, but the road to success is anything but easy. They will face financial struggles, market rejection, and many sleepless nights. The challenges they face are difficult, stressful, and often seem overwhelming. Yet, despite these hardships, they continue to push forward. They don't do it because they enjoy the stress or because they want comfort. Instead, they are driven by the will to power, the desire to create something meaningful and to prove to themselves that they can overcome the obstacles in their path. The sense of empowerment that comes from pushing through the difficulties, learning from failures, and ultimately achieving success is far more fulfilling than any momentary comfort. The entrepreneur's sense of power is rooted not in avoiding discomfort, but in embracing it and using it as a stepping stone to personal and professional growth. This concept can also be illustrated in the context of physical fitness and athletic performance. Athletes regularly subject their bodies to extreme stress in the pursuit of excellence. Whether it's a marathon runner training for weeks on end, or a weightlifter pushing past their previous limits, these athletes are not seeking comfort in their workouts. The process is often grueling, painful, and exhausting, but what drives them is not the hope of being comfortable, but the desire to become stronger. The joy and fulfillment they experience don't come from avoiding pain or stress, but from overcoming it. Every time they push through a difficult training session or break a personal record, they experience a sense of mastery. This is the will to power in action, the desire to master one's body, to transcend physical limitations, and to achieve something beyond what was previously thought possible. The will to power can also be observed in the context of personal development. People who dedicate themselves to improving their skills, learning new things, and pushing the boundaries of their knowledge are engaging in a form of self-overcoming. Whether it's acquiring a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or learning to code, these endeavors require significant effort and sacrifice. The process of acquiring a new skill is rarely easy. It involves frustration, failure, and the constant need to push oneself out of one's comfort zone. But the individuals who pursue self-improvement in this way are not doing so to gain comfort or pleasure. They are driven by the desire to evolve and to master new capabilities. The sense of accomplishment and growth they experience from overcoming challenges in the learning process is what gives their lives a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Nietzsche's idea of the will to power stands in opposition to the modern conception of happiness as the ultimate goal. In today's world, many people are taught to avoid discomfort at all costs, to seek pleasure and relaxation, and to accumulate wealth and possessions as a means of achieving happiness. This worldview promotes a lifestyle of convenience and comfort, where the goal is often to minimize challenges and hardships. Nietzsche, however, argued that this approach to life leads to stagnation. The human spirit, he believed, is not meant to live in a state of constant comfort or ease. Instead, it is meant to be engaged in a continuous process of overcoming challenges, pushing past limitations, and evolving into something greater. In Nietzsche's view, the pursuit of comfort and avoidance of struggle are the very things that keep people from achieving true fulfillment. People who constantly seek pleasure and comfort, without ever engaging with the challenges of life, are doomed to a life of emptiness. They may achieve temporary happiness through external means, but this happiness is fleeting and shallow. On the other hand, those who embrace struggle, face adversity head-on, and engage in the process of self-overcoming experience a deeper sense of fulfillment because they are constantly growing and evolving. The will to power is, therefore, not just about achieving power over others, but about the power to overcome oneself and grow stronger. Nietzsche's concept of the will to power also highlights the importance of self-discipline and self-mastery. The journey of self-overcoming requires tremendous self-control and the ability to confront one's weaknesses. It involves recognizing the areas in which we are lacking, confronting those areas, and pushing ourselves to improve. This is not an easy task, but it is through this process that we become more capable, more resilient, and more powerful. Nietzsche saw this kind of personal evolution as the true purpose of human existence. The will to power is not about seeking external rewards or avoiding hardship. It is about cultivating the inner strength to face life's challenges and emerge victorious. The will to power also invites us to rethink the notion of success. In modern society, success is often defined by external markers: wealth, fame, power, or achievement. But for Nietzsche, success is not about these external accomplishments. True success is about personal growth and the ability to transcend one's limitations. The real measure of success is the inner strength to overcome adversity, to continue evolving, and to live a life of meaning. In conclusion, the concept of the will to power provides a powerful framework for understanding what drives human beings. Nietzsche's view is that the pursuit of comfort and happiness, as traditionally understood, is a distraction from the deeper, more meaningful process of self-overcoming. The human drive for growth, challenge, and self-mastery is what truly gives life meaning. The will to power is not about seeking power over others, but about cultivating the strength to overcome our own weaknesses and limitations. By embracing self-overcoming and rejecting the pursuit of comfort, we open ourselves to a life of meaningful achievement and fulfillment. In the modern world, comfort has become more accessible than ever before. Advances in technology, the rise of instant gratification, and the explosion of entertainment options have made it easier than ever for people to live lives of ease. From binge-watching television shows to scrolling through social media on demand, our daily existence is filled with ways to avoid discomfort and fill our time with distractions. But while this level of comfort might feel good in the moment, Nietzsche argued that it comes with a significant cost. He believed that this comfort-focused lifestyle doesn't promote growth or fulfillment. It actually fosters weakness and stagnation. The more we avoid challenges and discomfort, the weaker we become, and the more lost we feel in our search for meaning and purpose. The idea that comfort has become the enemy of growth might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, doesn't the pursuit of comfort, pleasure, and ease sound like the ultimate goal? The world we live in certainly seems to promote this idea. Consumer culture relentlessly pushes us to buy products and experiences that promise to make our lives easier and more enjoyable. From fast food and video games to online shopping and self-care routines, the options for instant gratification are endless. We are surrounded by comforts designed to ease every facet of our lives. And yet, Nietzsche's philosophy suggests that this lifestyle of constant comfort and avoidance of discomfort is a trap, one that keeps us from experiencing true fulfillment and personal growth. In Nietzsche's view, humans are not made to exist in a state of perpetual comfort. Comfort, he believed, breeds stagnation. When we are constantly avoiding discomfort, we are not pushing ourselves to grow. Life, in Nietzsche's framework, is about struggle, growth, and self-overcoming, not avoiding pain or discomfort. The problem with modern life, then, is not the existence of comfort but our over-reliance on it. Comfort becomes a crutch that prevents us from engaging with the challenges that would force us to confront our weaknesses and become stronger. Nietzsche saw this reliance on comfort as one of the major issues of contemporary society. Let's consider the example of someone who spends most of their free time binge-watching TV shows. At first glance, this might not seem like a bad way to unwind. After a long, stressful day at work, sinking into the couch and losing yourself in a fictional world can feel like a necessary escape. However, if this becomes the person's primary way of coping with stress and discomfort, it may be masking a deeper issue. Watching hours of TV provides an immediate form of relief, a way to distract oneself from the challenges and struggles of real life. In the moment, it feels good, but over time, the satisfaction fades. The individual may start to feel a sense of emptiness. They might notice that their life lacks purpose or direction because they've been avoiding the very challenges that would lead to personal growth. The act of binge-watching TV is a perfect example of instant gratification. It provides a temporary sense of satisfaction, but it doesn't push the person to grow or evolve. In fact, it might actually hinder their growth, as it allows them to avoid the discomfort of facing real-life challenges. As a result, they may feel more stagnant and disconnected from their true potential. Nietzsche's view of comfort and its impact on human development can be compared to the concept of the hedonic treadmill, a psychological phenomenon where people constantly seek new sources of pleasure and comfort but ultimately return to their baseline level of happiness. In the case of binge-watching TV shows, for example, the person might enjoy the escape from reality at first, but as they continue to indulge in this behavior, they begin to require more TV, more distractions, and more entertainment to feel the same level of satisfaction. Their sense of fulfillment is fleeting, and they remain stuck in a cycle of seeking new forms of comfort while failing to address the underlying dissatisfaction with their life. The more they avoid confronting their true needs such as personal growth, overcoming challenges, or pursuing a meaningful goal, the more lost they become in a world of superficial distractions. This same pattern can be seen in other areas of life. The rise of smartphone culture and social media has amplified the ease with which we can avoid discomfort. People have become accustomed to constant stimulation, checking their phones, scrolling through Instagram, responding to notifications, and engaging in endless virtual conversations. It's hard to escape the feeling of constantly being plugged in. But the irony is that the constant connection to technology often leads to a profound sense of disconnection. Rather than engaging deeply with the real world around us, we engage in superficial interactions that distract us from our true selves and our goals. Social media, for example, often feeds us the illusion that happiness and success are about having the most followers, the best photos, or the most likes. In doing so, it encourages us to focus on external validation rather than inner growth. This focus on external approval can leave us feeling more disconnected, anxious, and unfulfilled, as we constantly seek validation but never fully confront the deeper challenges and questions that would lead to true personal fulfillment. The truth is that the more we seek comfort, the more we make ourselves susceptible to feelings of boredom and emptiness. In a world where everything is available at the push of a button, it's easy to fall into the trap of avoiding discomfort altogether. But Nietzsche would argue that this is precisely what keeps people from becoming the best version of themselves. Comfort, in its many forms, prevents people from engaging in the kind of struggle that is necessary for personal growth. The challenge, then, is to embrace discomfort, to recognize it as a catalyst for growth, and to actively seek out opportunities to push beyond our limits. Consider the example of someone who decides to pursue a challenging personal goal, such as running a marathon. The training process is uncomfortable. There are sore muscles, fatigue, and the constant battle against one's own limitations. But, as difficult as it is, the person knows that the struggle is necessary for growth. The discomfort of training is ultimately rewarded with a sense of accomplishment and mastery. The act of pushing through physical and mental discomfort enables them to transcend their previous limitations. If the person were to choose the path of comfort, staying on the couch and avoiding the pain of training, they would never experience the satisfaction of completing the marathon. They would miss out on the growth that comes from overcoming obstacles. This example demonstrates how discomfort, when embraced, leads to self-overcoming and, in turn, greater fulfillment. The rise of comfort-seeking behaviors is not just a personal issue, it is a societal one as well. Modern culture has built an entire system around the idea of avoiding discomfort and maximizing pleasure. From fast food and entertainment to consumer goods and technological gadgets, We are conditioned to seek out convenience at every turn. But the result of this cultural shift is that we are creating a society of people who are ill-equipped to deal with hardship or adversity. When things get tough, many people turn to distractions, self-soothing behaviors, and avoidance tactics rather than confronting the challenges head-on. This lack of resilience and willingness to face difficulty is one of the reasons why so many people in modern society experience feelings of anxiety, depression, and existential dissatisfaction. Nietzsche would argue that the antidote to this problem lies in embracing struggle rather than avoiding it. Struggling against obstacles, facing challenges, and engaging in the hard work of self-improvement are what ultimately lead to a life of meaning and fulfillment. It's not the avoidance of discomfort that leads to happiness, it's the process of overcoming it. Struggle is a necessary condition for growth, and only by engaging with life's challenges can we develop the strength and resilience to create something truly meaningful. The comfort trap has far-reaching consequences not only on an individual level but also for society as a whole. As more people become accustomed to lives of ease and convenience, they may find themselves more vulnerable to feelings of emptiness and disconnection. Nietzsche's challenge to us is to embrace discomfort, to seek out challenges, and to view adversity as an opportunity for self-overcoming. It is only by facing the difficulties of life that we can grow and evolve into stronger, more capable individuals. The comfort trap may offer temporary relief, but it ultimately keeps us from realizing our full potential. By breaking free from this trap, we can find a deeper, more lasting fulfillment that comes not from the avoidance of struggle, but from the process of overcoming it. Friedrich Nietzsche's exploration of master morality and slave morality is one of the most profound aspects of his philosophy, offering a framework to understand how different moral systems shape human behavior. Nietzsche saw these two types of morality as fundamentally opposed, with each representing different responses to life's challenges, discomfort, and struggles. The concept of master morality is a reflection of strength, creativity, and the will to power, whereas slave morality is a product of weakness, submission, and the avoidance of discomfort. These two moralities are not simply abstract ideas, but instead are lived expressions of how people approach the world, how they respond to adversity, and how they define their values. At the heart of master morality is the idea of self-mastery. The master moralist is someone who creates their own values, defines their own standards, and is not bound by the rules or expectations imposed by others. They are the ones who take responsibility for their lives, face challenges head-on, and derive meaning from the struggles they encounter. The master does not shy away from adversity. Instead, they embrace it, using it as an opportunity for self-overcoming and growth. The master creates meaning out of life by constantly striving to improve, to evolve, and to expand their capacities. The master is driven by a deep, intrinsic desire to grow stronger, to prove their worth, and to become the best version of themselves. In contrast, slave morality is rooted in weakness and submission. It is a response to suffering and powerlessness, and it encourages people to avoid discomfort, to accept life as it is, and to follow external rules and values that promise safety and stability. Slave morality values traits like humility, meekness, and obedience, virtues that are seen as the opposite of strength and assertiveness. Where the master embraces struggle and challenge, the slave seeks comfort and avoids anything that could cause pain or difficulty. The slave moralist is concerned with avoiding suffering at all costs, often relying on external authorities such as religion, tradition, or social norms to define what is right or wrong. They do not question the status quo, they follow it. Nietzsche's critique of slave morality is rooted in his belief that it limits human potential. He argued that modern morality, particularly the Christian morality that arose during the Middle Ages, is a manifestation of slave morality. In this system, virtues such as patience, obedience, and self-sacrifice are valued, while qualities like ambition, assertiveness, and self-assertion are seen as vices. According to Nietzsche, these values were constructed by the weak in order to protect themselves from the strong, and to turn their own powerlessness into a virtue. For Nietzsche, slave morality is a defense mechanism created by those who are unable to challenge the dominant powers, and it encourages people to avoid taking responsibility for their lives. Instead of confronting adversity, the slave moralist is taught to submit to it, to find comfort in the notion of eternal life, or to embrace passivity as a form of virtue. In the world of master morality, the individual defines what is good based on their own experiences and their own struggle to overcome obstacles. They do not look to others for approval or guidance. They trust in their own judgment and capabilities. This self-reliance and self-creation are key aspects of master morality. Masters do not accept the moral framework imposed on them by society or religion. But instead, they forge their own path, relying on their own strength and creativity to define their values. This is not to say that the master moralist is unconcerned with others or their relationships with others. However, they are driven primarily by the need to develop themselves, and their moral system is centered around self-mastery and self-overcoming. A prime example of this contrast between master and slave morality can be seen in the corporate world, where individuals often face choices that reflect these two moralities. Consider a corporate leader who seeks to push the boundaries of what is possible, striving to create a business or organization that challenges the status quo. This leader operates from a place of master morality. They take risks, innovate, and embrace challenges as opportunities to grow. They do not shy away from discomfort or uncertainty. Instead, they welcome the struggle and use it as a means of self-overcoming. They are focused on creating their own path, rather than simply following the prescribed rules. The leader who embraces master morality sees setbacks and failures not as signs of weakness, but as stepping stones to greater success and personal evolution. On the other hand, consider someone within the same corporate environment who adheres to slave morality. This person may be highly obedient, following the rules and instructions given by their superiors without question. They avoid risk and challenge, preferring the comfort of a predictable, stable routine. The person with a slave morality may be content with their job and seek to avoid any form of discomfort. Even if it means stagnating in their career, they may conform to societal expectations and avoid taking responsibility for their own growth, relying on others to provide direction and purpose. The slave moralist sees discomfort as something to be avoided at all costs, whereas the master sees it as an opportunity to improve and grow stronger. The difference between the master and the slave is not just a difference in values, but also in their fundamental approach to life. The master believes that life is inherently challenging, that it is through struggle and overcoming obstacles that we find meaning and fulfillment. The slave, however, believes that life is something to be endured rather than embraced. They avoid discomfort and seek solace in external forces, whether religion, societal norms, or other forms of passive obedience. For Nietzsche, the master moralist embodies the will to power, the drive to expand and transcend one's current state, while the slave moralist embodies a will to endure, focusing on minimizing pain and avoiding challenges. This philosophical divide has practical implications for how people live their lives. Those who embrace master morality are often those who push boundaries, innovate, and create meaning through their struggles. They don't avoid the hardships of life. Instead, they embrace them as essential parts of the process of self-actualization. They are willing to take risks and experience discomfort because they understand that it is through these experiences that they will grow and become more powerful. Whether it's in the pursuit of career goals, personal development, or creative endeavors, the master moralist knows that the struggle is what makes success meaningful. The slave moralist, on the other hand, is more likely to seek comfort and stability, avoiding challenges that might cause discomfort. This approach to life can lead to a form of resignation, where the individual accepts their circumstances without questioning or striving for change. While the slave moralist may experience temporary comfort, they often feel disconnected from their true potential and purpose. Their reliance on external rules and authority leaves them powerless to shape their own destiny. Nietzsche also saw religion, especially Christianity, as a manifestation of slave morality. He argued that the Christian moral framework, which emphasizes humility, obedience, and self-sacrifice, was developed as a response to the powerlessness of the masses. Christianity, in Nietzsche's view, encouraged people to submit to their suffering, to accept their place in the world, and to desire an afterlife rather than finding meaning and power in the present life. This submission to suffering, he believed, was a form of denying life, a refusal to engage with the challenges and struggles that give life meaning. Nietzsche's rejection of Christian morality was not simply a rejection of religion. but a rejection of a value system that promoted weakness and passivity. For Nietzsche, the true path to power and fulfillment lies in embracing the struggle and the hardship that comes with life. The master moralist does not shy away from these things. They face them head-on and use them as opportunities for growth. The will to power is not about dominating others, but about mastering oneself, transcending one's limitations, and striving to become something greater. By rejecting the values of slave morality and embracing the challenges of life, individuals can find deeper meaning, satisfaction, and a sense of personal mastery. The dichotomy between master morality and slave morality is not just a philosophical abstraction. It is a practical framework for understanding how people approach life and define their values. In today's world, where comfort and security are often prioritized over growth and challenge, Nietzsche's ideas about the two moralities are more relevant than ever. Embracing master morality means rejecting the comfort trap, confronting challenges head-on, and striving for self-mastery. It is about embracing the struggles of life and using them as opportunities for self-overcoming, personal development, and the creation of one's own values. Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermensch, or overman, is perhaps one of the most ambitious and provocative elements of his philosophy. The Ubermensch represents the ideal human being, an individual who rises above weakness, embraces the struggles of life, and creates their own values. This person does not seek happiness as a mere goal. Instead, they pursue growth, self-overcoming, and power, but not the power over others. The Ubermensch is someone who masters themselves, who transcends the limitations of conventional thinking, and who rejects the values imposed by society, religion, or tradition. Nietzsche's vision of the Ubermensch is not only a philosophical ideal but also a challenge to the very notion of what it means to be human in a world that often encourages passivity, comfort, and complacency. The Ubermensch is a figure who stands apart from the majority, rejecting the constraints and limitations that society places on individuals. Nietzsche believed that most people live lives that are dictated by external forces, be it societal expectations, moral systems, or the prevailing religious norms. The average person, according to Nietzsche, conforms to these systems because they are too weak to create their own path. They live in accordance with the values of others, never questioning them or seeking to transcend their limitations. The Ubermensch, however, breaks free from these constraints. They don't live by the rules of society. They create their own values based on their individual experiences, strengths, and struggles. At the heart of the Ubermensch is the principle of self-overcoming. Nietzsche argued that the essence of human existence is the constant need to transcend one's current state. This means pushing beyond one's limitations, confronting one's weaknesses, and growing stronger through struggle. The Ubermensch is not a person who seeks to avoid discomfort or challenges. On the contrary, they embrace struggle and suffering as vital components of personal growth. The key to becoming an Ubermensch is not to escape pain or difficulty, but to engage with life's hardships head-on, knowing that true fulfillment comes not from avoiding obstacles but from overcoming them. The Ubermensch is also deeply concerned with meaning, not the meaning that is handed down by society or religion, but the meaning that they create for themselves. Nietzsche believed that traditional moral systems, especially Christian morality, had robbed individuals of the power to create their own values. Religion, he argued, promoted weakness by teaching people to deny their desires, to be meek and humble, and to accept suffering as a virtue. In contrast, the Ubermensch rejects this moral framework. They see the world not through the lens of good and evil as defined by external authorities, but as a place to create meaning through self-expression, creativity, and power. For the Ubermensch, life is an ongoing process of becoming, and they are constantly in the act of creating themselves, constantly evolving into a more powerful and self-fulfilled version of who they are. This process of self-creation and self-overcoming is evident in the work of many individuals who, like the Ubermensch, embrace struggle and challenges as necessary for growth. One such example is the life of the artist. Consider the journey of an artist who dedicates their life to creating meaningful work. Often, artists face years of rejection, self-doubt, and financial hardship. Despite these struggles, the artist continues to create, not because they are seeking happiness or external validation, but because they are driven by an inner need to express themselves and to create something that has meaning. The artist knows that the path to greatness is fraught with obstacles and challenges. And yet they embrace these struggles as essential to their craft. Their happiness does not come from the external rewards of fame or wealth, but from the process of creation itself. The act of self-overcoming that comes with confronting the difficulties of their work. The Ubermensch does not pursue comfort or ease. They do not shy away from the discomfort that comes with creating something new, something bold, something that challenges the status quo. Instead, they embrace the struggle because they understand that it is through this struggle that they will grow and evolve. For the Ubermensch, the process of overcoming obstacles and pushing past limitations is what gives life its meaning and purpose. This is why Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermensch is so deeply tied to the idea of growth, a growth that comes not from avoiding suffering or discomfort but from engaging with it and using it as a means of transcendence. In the case of an artist, this idea is brought to life in their work. The artist who struggles with rejection, self-doubt, and failure is not simply seeking happiness, but rather is engaging in a process of self-expression and self-creation. The act of creating art is a form of self-overcoming, a way for the artist to push beyond their current limitations and create something that reflects their deepest thoughts, desires, and experiences. In this way, the artist embodies the spirit of the Ubermensch not by seeking external validation or happiness, but by embracing the process of creation as a path toward personal mastery and self-realization. This focus on self-creation and self-overcoming also extends to other areas of life. In the realm of entrepreneurship, for instance, individuals who start their own businesses often face years of struggle, financial hardship, and personal sacrifice. The path to success is not easy, and it is often fraught with setbacks and failure. Yet, the entrepreneur who embodies the spirit of the Ubermensch does not shy away from these challenges. Instead, they embrace them as an opportunity to grow, learn, and evolve. They see the difficulties of building a business as a necessary part of the process, not as obstacles to be avoided. For them, success is not measured by external rewards, but by the growth and mastery they experience in the process of building something meaningful. This idea of embracing struggle and creating meaning also applies to individuals who pursue personal growth and self-improvement. For example, someone who takes up the challenge of physical fitness is not simply seeking to be happy or comfortable. They are seeking to push their bodies beyond their current limitations, to grow stronger, healthier, and more resilient. The individual who commits to a difficult workout routine understands that there will be discomfort, pain, and fatigue along the way, but they embrace these challenges because they know that it is through overcoming them that they will experience growth. The Ubermensch does not shy away from these difficulties, but uses them as a means of self-transformation. The Ubermensch is also an individual who does not conform to the values of society. In a world where social norms, religious beliefs, and political ideologies often dictate how individuals should live, the Ubermensch rejects these external values and creates their own. This does not mean that the Ubermensch is indifferent to others or completely isolated from society. Rather, it means that they do not accept the values imposed by others as absolute or unchangeable. They are willing to question, challenge, and redefine the meaning of life on their own terms. The Ubermensch defines their own principles, and they live by them, regardless of whether they align with the conventional norms of society. For Nietzsche, the Ubermensch represents the ultimate form of human potential. This is not someone who follows the crowd or conforms to societal expectations, but someone who transcends the limitations imposed by others and creates their own path. The Ubermensch is a creator, someone who creates their own values, their own meaning, and their own destiny. In this sense, the Ubermensch is not just an individual who rises above others in terms of power or status, but someone who creates a life of authenticity and meaning through the process of self-overcoming. In conclusion, Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermensch is a profound challenge to the conventional ideas of happiness, success, and morality. The Ubermensch is not someone who seeks comfort, pleasure, or external validation. Instead, they are driven by a deep need to grow, to overcome, and to create their own values. Whether in the realm of art, entrepreneurship, personal growth, or self-expression, the Ubermensch embraces struggle and discomfort as the path to self-mastery and fulfillment. By rejecting societal norms and living according to their own principles, The Ubermensch embodies the highest form of human potential, constantly striving to transcend their limitations and create something greater. The journey of the Ubermensch is not about avoiding struggle, but about embracing it as a means of self-transformation and personal growth. Nietzsche's philosophy consistently challenges the conventional wisdom of his time, and perhaps nowhere is this more apparent than in his view on happiness and struggle. In modern society, happiness is often regarded as the ultimate goal, the pinnacle of human existence. We are bombarded daily with messages from the media, social media, self-help books, and advertisements that promise happiness if we only follow a set of prescribed steps, achieve success, acquire material possessions, find love, and avoid pain. But Nietzsche saw this pursuit of happiness as misguided, and ultimately, a futile endeavor. Instead, he urged people to stop chasing after happiness and to embrace struggle and personal growth. For Nietzsche, true fulfillment does not come from the pursuit of happiness itself, but from confronting and overcoming the challenges life presents. The message is clear. Happiness is fleeting and, in many ways, an illusion. It is an emotion that comes and goes, often tied to external circumstances that we cannot fully control. When we chase happiness, we are pursuing a transient feeling that can never be permanently sustained. Just as material possessions, career success, and romantic relationships provide moments of joy but ultimately fade, the happiness we experience from these external sources is short-lived. Nietzsche's challenge, however, is not just to recognize that happiness is fleeting, but to acknowledge that true fulfillment lies not in the avoidance of struggle, but in embracing it. The pursuit of happiness often leads us to seek comfort, security, and ease, an approach that, according to Nietzsche, leads to stagnation. When we focus too much on avoiding discomfort, we rob ourselves of the opportunity for growth and self-overcoming. For Nietzsche, the core of human existence is not comfort or pleasure, but growth and struggle. Struggle is not something to be avoided, it is something to be embraced. Nietzsche believed that personal transformation and empowerment come from actively engaging with life's difficulties. In fact, it is through struggle and challenge that we can become our best selves. One of the most profound examples of this idea can be found in the context of personal challenges, such as training for a marathon. At first glance, running a marathon might seem like an exhausting and painful endeavor, both physically and mentally demanding. The training process is grueling: early morning runs, aching muscles, and the mental fortitude required to push through difficult days. There are setbacks and doubts, and the physical pain can be overwhelming. Yet, through this struggle, the runner learns something about themselves. They grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of enduring hardship. By the time they cross the finish line, they have not only achieved a physical feat, but they have also experienced personal growth. The happiness that comes from completing the marathon is secondary to the power and strength they have gained through the process of struggle itself. This metaphor extends beyond the marathon runner to almost every area of life. When people engage in self-improvement or work toward meaningful goals, they often face obstacles that challenge their limits. Whether it is a career goal, a personal development objective, or an artistic ambition, the process of striving toward a goal often requires hard work, sacrifice, and discomfort. However, as Nietzsche suggested, it is in embracing these difficulties rather than avoiding them that we find real growth. For Nietzsche, the struggle itself is what gives life meaning. It is not about achieving external success or finding happiness through possessions or relationships, but about mastering oneself through the process of overcoming challenges. Nietzsche's call to embrace struggle rather than happiness is not a denial of the joy that can come from life's experiences. Rather, it is a call to shift our focus. Rather than seeking happiness as an end in itself, Nietzsche urged us to seek meaning and growth. The will to power, a central idea in Nietzsche's philosophy, is about self-mastery, the ability to transcend one's limitations, and the drive to become more than we currently are. The Ubermensch, or Overman, represents this ideal. The Ubermensch is an individual who has moved beyond the conventional expectations of society, rejected the pursuit of happiness, and embraced the challenges of life as an opportunity for self-creation and transformation. In a world that promotes comfort and easy solutions, Nietzsche's philosophy can be seen as a radical shift. People today are encouraged to avoid discomfort at all costs. The focus is on finding happiness quickly and effortlessly, whether through instant gratification, consumerism, or passive entertainment. Yet, as Nietzsche argued, this avoidance of discomfort leads to weakness and stagnation. True power, growth, and fulfillment come from actively engaging with life's struggles, not avoiding them. Those who face challenges head-on, who embrace the discomfort of self-overcoming, are the ones who transcend the limitations of modern life. They create meaning through their actions, their resilience, and their ability to rise above difficulties. Consider the example of someone pursuing a difficult career path. Many individuals work tirelessly toward a goal that seems far from their reach. The journey is filled with moments of doubt, fear, and frustration, but they persevere. They may face rejection, financial strain, and even the temptation to give up, yet they continue. The person who embraces this challenge is not focused on immediate happiness or comfort, but on the long-term process of self-mastery. They understand that the reward comes not from reaching the goal itself, but from the growth they experience along the way. Nietzsche would argue that it is this pursuit of self-overcoming, the willingness to face hardship, that makes life truly meaningful. In today's culture, we often look to external factors for happiness. We think that the right amount of success, the perfect relationship, or the acquisition of wealth will bring us lasting fulfillment. Yet, as Nietzsche pointed out, this is an empty pursuit. When we focus solely on happiness, we miss out on the deeper, more transformative aspects of life: the struggle, the challenges, and the growth that come from engaging with life's difficulties. Happiness is fleeting, and when we chase it relentlessly, we only end up feeling empty when it slips away. But when we embrace the struggle, when we focus on personal growth and self-overcoming, we begin to find true fulfillment. This doesn't mean that Nietzsche is suggesting a life of misery or hardship for the sake of hardship. Rather, he is emphasizing the importance of engagement with life's challenges, not avoidance. It is through active participation in life's struggles that we come to know ourselves, to expand our potential, and to develop a deeper understanding of who we are and what we can achieve. Nietzsche's philosophy invites us to view struggle not as something to be feared or avoided, but as an essential part of the human experience, a pathway to personal growth and self-actualization. In every area of life, whether it's in relationships, career, or personal development, Nietzsche's message remains consistent: embrace struggle, not happiness. The pursuit of happiness alone leads to dissatisfaction and stagnation. Happiness is a byproduct of a deeper, more meaningful pursuit: the pursuit of self-mastery through struggle and overcoming challenges. True fulfillment comes from engaging with life, embracing difficulties, and using them as opportunities to grow. The struggle itself is where the real power lies, and through it, we transcend the limitations imposed by society, religion, or external forces. The key to living a meaningful life is not in the pursuit of fleeting happiness, but in the embrace of struggle, a struggle that leads to growth, transformation, and self-overcoming. So, what do you think? Are you ready to stop chasing happiness and start embracing the challenges that will truly lead you to growth and fulfillment? Nietzsche's message is a bold one, but it's a message that could change the course of your life. True fulfillment doesn't come from avoiding discomfort or seeking constant pleasure. It comes from facing the struggle, mastering yourself, and creating your own meaning in a world that constantly tries to define it for you. I hope today's video opened your eyes to the power of Nietzsche's philosophy. And if it did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. And if you found this video especially impactful, don't forget to super thanks. Your support means the world to me, and it helps keep these ideas alive for all of us to explore together. Remember, the path to growth and self-mastery is not an easy one, but it's the most rewarding journey you can take. Embrace the struggle, create your own values, and step into your power. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep growing, and keep questioning the world around you.